I'm Jacob, a curious soul with a fascination for the macabre. After hearing whispers of an old, abandoned mortuary on the outskirts of town, my curiosity got the better of me. The local legends spoke of eerie happenings and ghostly apparitions haunting the place. One gloomy night, I decided to venture into the depths of darkness to uncover the truth. As I approached the foreboding structure, the moon hid behind a thick layer of ominous clouds, casting a haunting glow over the decrepit building. The rusty gates creaked open, seemingly inviting me inside. Nervously, I stepped over the threshold and found myself in a chilling hallway. The air was heavy with the scent of decay, and each creak echoed through the lifeless corridors. The mortuary was a labyrinth of cold, lifeless chambers filled with rows of empty metal slabs. Shattered glass windows allowed moonlight to creep in, casting eerie silhouettes on the walls. My footsteps echoed loudly in the silence, and I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. As I explored deeper into the building, I noticed strange markings on the walls, cryptic symbols etched by unknown hands. I brushed them off as mere graffiti until I encountered a locked door in the basement. There was a peculiar symbol engraved on the door, a design I had never seen before. It was then that I sensed a presence lurking in the shadows. With trembling hands, I searched for the key to the locked door. My heart pounded in my chest as I finally found a rusty key amidst a pile of dust and cobwebs. The key fit into the lock with an unsettling click, and the door slowly swung open. I stepped into a dimly lit chamber that seemed to exude an icy coldness. The air felt suffocating, and a foul odor engulfed me. On an altar at the center of the room lay an ancient book, bound in black leather and adorned with ominous symbols. Unable to resist the temptation, I opened the book. As my eyes scanned the pages, I unknowingly unleashed an ancient curse upon myself and the mortuary. Suddenly, the temperature dropped drastically, and a haunting whisper filled the room. Panic set in as shadows danced and swirled around me, taking on sinister forms. I tried to escape, but the door slammed shut, trapping me inside. The walls seemed to close in, and the corridors twisted and shifted. The mortuary became a labyrinth of darkness, and each turn only led to more horrifying sights. I stumbled upon apparitions of those who had met their end within these walls. Faces twisted in agony, eyes devoid of life, they reached out to me, desperate for release from their eternal torment. The mortuary came alive with ghastly cries and chilling moans. Hours turned into an eternity as I fought to escape the grasp of the malevolent spirits. I was taunted and chased by vengeful souls seeking revenge for the desecration of their resting place. Their hollow wails echoed through my mind, driving me to the brink of madness. With every step, I felt myself slipping further into darkness, my sanity hanging by a thread. The mortuary's sinister history manifested around me, each ghostly figure adding to the horror of the cursed place. Just when I thought all hope was lost, a faint glimmer of light appeared at the end of a long, twisting corridor. I ran toward it, fueled by desperation and fear. As I reached the source of the light, I found myself back at the entrance of the mortuary. The gates stood wide open, beckoning me to escape. I stumbled out of the mortuary, gasping for breath, and collapsed onto the cold, damp ground. The cursed building loomed behind me, a testament to the nightmarish experience I had endured. I had survived the horrors of the mortuary, but I knew that I would never truly be free from its haunting grasp. From that night on, I carried the weight of the mortuary's curse with me. The spirits of the damned followed me like shadows, their chilling presence a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked within the abandoned mortuary. And so, I roamed the earth as a tormented soul, forever haunted by the horrors of that fateful night. My name is Emily, and my fascination with the macabre led me down a dark path. I was a medical student, and despite my usual calm demeanor, My heart raced with excitement at the prospect of a dissection. Little did I know that this morbid curiosity would lead me to a haunting experience that would forever change my life. It was a chilly autumn evening when my professor, Dr. Harrington, informed me about a peculiar cadaver donation. The body of Mr. Oswald, a recluse known for his peculiar beliefs in the occult, had been handed over to our university for educational purposes. Dr. Harrington's eyes gleamed with an odd excitement, but he never mentioned the unsettling rumors surrounding Mr. Oswald's life. Dissection was scheduled for the following night, and my anticipation grew with every passing hour. As the clock struck midnight, the medical lab transformed into a realm of darkness and mystery. The stench of embalming fluid and formaldehyde filled the air, mixing with the scent of burning candles that adorned the room. The atmosphere was heavy with eerie silence as we gathered around the cold, steel table that held Mr. Oswald's lifeless body. Dr. Harrington addressed the room, detailing the procedure and the importance of treating the cadaver with utmost respect. As he pulled back the white cloth covering Mr. Oswald, an unsettling chill ran down my spine. Mr. Oswald's features were gaunt and sunken, his skin pale as death. A peculiar symbol was tattooed on his chest, and my curiosity was piqued. However, I quickly dismissed the thought, attributing the symbol to some obscure belief of the deceased. As we began the dissection, a sense of unease settled over the room. The flickering candles cast shifting shadows on the walls, and I could swear I saw movement from the corner of my eye. Nervously, I glanced around, but the other students seemed too engrossed in their work to notice anything amiss. As the scalpel touched the cold skin of Mr. Oswald's chest, an eerie sensation washed over me. It was as if his lifeless body was somehow aware of what was happening, and a silent scream echoed in my mind. I tried to shake off the feeling and focused on my task, but the unease only intensified. As the dissection progressed, I couldn't help but notice strange anomalies in Mr. Oswald's anatomy. His internal organs appeared unnaturally preserved, as if they were untouched by decay. Dr. Harrington, too, seemed intrigued by the peculiarities, but he attributed them to the embalming process. As the night wore on, the lab became colder, and an unsettling presence seemed to envelop us. Whispers filled the air, indistinguishable words that sent shivers down my spine. I glanced at my peers, but their expressions remained fixed on their work, oblivious to the haunting sounds. Suddenly, the room plunged into darkness, and an overwhelming sense of dread washed over me. Panic set in as I fumbled for a flashlight, but before I could find it, the lights flickered back to life. The others seemed unperturbed, continuing their dissection as if nothing had happened. The following night, I returned to the lab, determined to uncover the truth behind Mr. Oswald's strange condition. As I approached the steel table, I noticed something that sent chills down my spine. The symbol on his chest seemed to have faded, but its presence was still faintly visible. Intrigued and disturbed, I decided to delve deeper into Mr. Oswald's life. I discovered that he had been a recluse with a penchant for studying the occult. Rumors spoke of his obsession with dark rituals and the summoning of otherworldly entities. The symbol on his chest was said to be a mark of his devotion to these malevolent forces. The more I learned, the more I became convinced that there was something supernatural at play. I could no longer ignore the feeling that Mr. Oswald's spirit was lingering in the mortuary, unwilling to rest in peace. Driven by both curiosity and fear, I enlisted the help of a local medium to conduct a seance in the lab. As the medium chanted incantations, the atmosphere thickened with an eerie energy. Suddenly, the temperature dropped, and a spectral figure materialized before us. It was Mr. Oswald's tortured soul, his eyes hollow and filled with anguish. He spoke of the dark rituals he had performed, seeking immortality and power. His soul was now bound to his body, unable to find peace in death. His haunting tale sent shivers down my spine, and I felt a surge of empathy for his tormented soul. With the medium's guidance, I sought to release him from his eternal torment. The seance intensified, and the energy in the room crackled with intensity. As the last incantation was spoken, Mr. Oswald's spirit finally found release, dissipating into the darkness. The room fell silent, and a sense of peace washed over me. The mortuary's haunting was over, and Mr. Oswald's soul had found its long-awaited rest. From that day on, I vowed to approach my studies with a newfound respect for the dead and the mysteries of life and death. The haunting experience had forever changed me, leaving me with a deeper understanding of the thin veil that separates the living from the dead and the importance of letting spirits find peace in the afterlife.